Hey everybody, my name is Donna Kilpatrick. I'm the ranch manager and land steward at Heifer Ranch in Perryville, Arkansas. This video, you're catching the cows going out on their first day of grazing for our grazing season. So we're going to talk about moving animals, why we move animals, where we move them, how quickly we move animals, and you'll just have a chance to sort of see them really enjoying the pasture on the first real day of grazing here at Heifer Ranch. So hey everybody, welcome back to the ranch. We've just done an epic move this morning. We started about 6:30, moving the steers from literally one side of the ranch all the way across to the other side. And right now the steers are in one of our corrals, so we're sort of halfway between our move. We're letting them rest. I actually have a little heifer calf in here that somehow got with this group that we're going to send the steers through the chute and pull that heifer calf out and get it back with another group of cows that we have. We're towards the end of April and we've been working on our holistic grazing chart. I'm sort of plotting out the year in terms of where we're going to be when, based around different events. So our grazing chart revolves around giving the forage and the soil and the ecosystem ample time to rest. So the minimum rest is 30 days and we go all the way up to 45 days during the slump of growth that you see in late summer when things really slow down before they pick up slightly again. These are our steers. They look okay. They've just come through the winter. Lots of hay, lots of added forage because obviously we don't have year-round forage here. We do stockpile, but just not enough to get them through. So in the winter, they do eat a lot of hay. In a month, these steers will look so fat and happy and healthy. Right now, they're in the corral and they're eating grass before we do our next move, and they're super content right now. In terms of the grazing, during the winter, there's no growth of forage. In the spring, we're just starting to pick up with the cool seasons starting to grow again. So our cool season grasses are coming back. They're not quite ready. I mean, they're growing, but you have to start somewhere. So we're going to put them in pasture 20. And then we've plotted out our moves. This year we're really keeping the sheep and the cattle, at least the steers, close together. And we'll keep you updated on that as we go through the summer. So to move the cows, literally I stand and call them. I have a call that I use. They know that my call means they're going to go to a new paddock or they're going to get something that they want. So they're usually pretty excited to come and they'll follow my gator. So they just follow the ATV to wherever I want them to go. If it's a short move, I can definitely do it by myself, especially if you're in a pasture and you have the pasture divided up into paddocks and you're just moving a hot line and it's like clockwork. You don't even have to call them. They know that they're getting fresh forage, so they just come right on through. If it's a big move like this is the biggest move you can make on this ranch is what we're doing right now. I definitely want me in front calling them and then somebody like Lizzie Parker, our cattle volunteer, her in the back just making sure that we didn't leave anybody, because if we start, we want to bunch up the group and move them as a herd, and if we left anyone behind, that would be quite a feat to get them caught up. So we want to get here halfway, make sure we have everybody, and then we'll go on. So the livestock volunteers really are the workforce of our team, and they come from various backgrounds. Most of them have an interest in either animal husbandry or farming, or they just want to see what it's like. They're thinking maybe a career change or maybe studying this in college, but they come from anywhere from 3 months to a year, live on the ranch, and work with our team of professional livestock employees during the day. So right now Lizzie's here. She's an ex-school teacher. She started buying grassroots products, fell in love with them, and decided that maybe she wanted to do this for a living. She's thinking about doing custom cattle grazing. So she's here really just predominantly working with cattle with me, learning the ins and outs of how to manage cattle. So we start our day at least by 7. She has a group of chores that she does while I do other things. And then we check the cows, we move the cows if needed. She always stays on top of their salt and minerals, checks the water, checks for any illnesses. If there's a cow that doesn't look quite right, she keeps an eye on that. And she's learning about forage and moving animals. So she's really learning about a grass finish operation and what it takes to have animals, livestock that really utilize their physiological distinctive qualities to eat forage that they're accustomed to, that their DNA has set them up for. So that's what she's doing. Lizzie, as well as all of our volunteers, live on the ranch. We provide housing and some food, as well as a very, very small stipend. And they live on the ranch in this community. They live and breathe the ranch. They see it, from sunrise to sunset, and really see the cycles. Especially if you're here for a year, you get to see the whole cycle of the farm. What goes on, what time of year, all of that. There's always opportunities for more volunteers. So the goal is to have as few herds as possible. And what you'll see this year is that we're going to really tightly graze the sheep and the cattle together. We always talk about that, but then we get really busy, to be honest with you, and life gets in the way, but we're making that a priority this year, that the sheep are going to follow the steers. Basically, through our holistic plan grazing, we have laid out a schedule for the grazing season that plots their moves throughout the summer. We're going to do that because cattle and sheep don't necessarily enjoy eating the same foods. And what we want in our pastures is a diversity of perennial grasses and also forbs, legumes, that kind of thing. Cattle really love grasses. They also eat forbs. That's very good for them. But sheep really enjoy broadleaf plants much more than grasses. We're going to move the cows quickly this year. They'll be on a paddock for a day and then move. Then the sheep will come in, eat what they left, which is hopefully going to be the forbs, the broader leaf plants, and then they'll move. We literally have two properties because the main ranch is separated from what we call the north side by a river. And that's 120 acres of beautiful grazable land. I sort of see that as a separate property. I mean, it's our property, it's all together, but because of the river, we have to go through Perryville to get to it. And I'm trying something completely different this year and putting the mama cows on the north side and keeping the steers here. We're trying to get them to 1,100 pounds in 2 years. What we want is the best forage for those steers since their weight gain is so critical. We plant quite a few cover crops here, multi-species cover crops, which have tons of nutrition, are helping our soil quality, and we want the steers to have access to that. So that's why the steers are here and the mama cows are on the north side. Okay, so we just got our cows out to their first real pasture of grazing for the season. What you'll see on the ground right now is really the cool season perennials that have been dormant through the winter, and they're just starting to come back. So if I look down at this pasture right now, yeah, there's tons and tons of clover. I didn't even see this. Here's some hairy vetch. That's awesome. The cows love this. We've also got lots of fescue, so the standing up grasses, that's mostly fescue, coming back. So it'll be around until about mid-May, and then it starts dying down as our warm seasons come on. So those would be grasses like Bermuda, Bahia, Dallas grass, those types of grasses that we see in the middle of the summer here. So this pasture has not fully recovered, but in the springtime, you have to start somewhere. Our goal is never to put animals on a pasture until it's fully recovered. And so for the start of the spring, that means that it's fully recovered from where you ended off grazing the grass last year through the winter. Now it's starting to grow back. We want to get that to full recovery before we put our animals on it. But sometimes you just have to start. So this is recovering. It's not fully recovered. Technically, it would be overgrazed because we did put our animals on it before it was fully recovered. But like I said, you've got to start somewhere. By the time they move on a couple of pastures, the forage will be fully recovered where they're going. So you sort of have to weigh things out. Do you want to hold animals in a pasture and wait and feed them hay, which is what, $50 a bale? or do you want to get them going? So you have to think about your context, what your goals are, and then start somewhere. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you found value in this video, please like it and subscribe. Take care.